So, telepathy tapes and what is actually going on in regards to children with autism that are non-verbal. It's Carl Joseph here. Hello, psychic medium, 15, 16 years. I have trained in spiritualist churches and psychic development circles, have worked with thousands of people, and yeah, learned from people who have worked for 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. One of the institutions being the Arthur Finney College in the UK. And now I have an apprenticeship and I teach people as well what is going on within the psychic modalities so that they understand one's natural system, and how to look into that and see where it sits in the totality of God or a larger collective that we all exist in creation. I see it as a web, like a big matrix, and I'm following the threads. And as I follow that information, it opens up and I receive more information. Um, you know, through lots of different means. Sometimes it's visual, sometimes I'm hearing things, sometimes I am seeing things, sometimes I am just knowing things. Now, the conversation that I was having with Nora about, what happens mechanically for people that are using a space of telepathy, is I was very interested, first of all, to know, neurologically what is happening in my mind, my brain, what pieces are lighting up or being activated as I'm utilizing the psychic space. But there would obviously, I would say, be crossovers and correlation between how, a child is able to pick up information non-verbally psychically. Essentially, that's what they're doing. They are able to feel and hear thoughts, information, because their antennae is tuned into that person and picking up what is being projected, from that person, be it within their emotions or their mind. They're utilizing a similar muscle. It might not be used in the same way that other psychics are using their gifts, but they found a way in which to communicate or to speak or to understand how to maneuver the world in a way that is direct or quicker than having to go via traditional means. Now, the information that I was receiving around this was that there is the amygdala. Could be getting that name wrong, but there is studies that are being done. Harvard did come up within that information I was receiving that is telling me that the information is telling me that there is misunderstanding around what happens within these spaces. The frontal cortex, there's a direct connection going between these two spaces, and it's bypassing the maybe the language quarters or the language sections or the parts that create, I guess, linguistics, motor functions perhaps as well. But there's a piece that is being bypassed, because rather than go through all of this other stuff that we do traditionally in the West, it's easier to bypass it and go straight to uh, not having to learn. Things that could be complicated. It's easier to maintain that connection and receive the information that way than then have to learn how to speak, how to construct language, which is going to then infuse, the motor functions of how the mouth moves and how we shape word. That's quite a large thing to have to learn if there's a quicker way to do it. Interestingly, I think that the part that sometimes that is being missed as well is that, you know, within our human development with technology, with, you know, the industrial age, we lost the connection to deep rooted spirituality. So for children, and this I think is the crux of it, that were coming in very sensitive and seeing that, you know, through language and through I guess people's lack of connection to spirituality, this pocket that the rest of us have learned, you know, how to speak and social cues and social etiquette, all of these, this rigid box that is shaped by language, formed by words, they said, I'm not doing that. I'm going straight direct to source. But that's representative of what's going on in the mind and the brain of them too. Is so above, so below. I think I'm making sense. I hope I'm making sense. So they have bypassed it because of the limits that it has, I guess, posed upon us. Now, as we start to integrate into our collective society more spirituality, more understanding, more empathy, those two spaces are beginning to integrate. So it's like as we move forward, this pocket forms of children holding a connection to God and spirituality, but in a way that we, you know, we didn't maybe have word for because we weren't talking about it. We were disconnected from it, so it separated and disconnected within a group, and they held a direct connection to God because we were disconnected from it. That's what I'm trying to say. I hope that makes sense. But what the other piece and part that's very important is that is reflected in what is happening to them within their brain, neurologically, the pathways. Now, you know, the piece and part that I understand is that if you have a connection to, you know, God, spirituality, um, the divine, you can receive information. Now, not only do you receive information, you know, uh, uh, um, in ways that are you don't need words for. You know, that's telepathy. You're receiving information in a way that is hearing frequency. You're hearing somebody's unique vibration and what they are transmitting, but without the need to speak it or say it. I connect to my client from the other side of the world and they're not speaking to me, but I know what is happening with them, even if they haven't said it. So that connection to God opens the door to what one would call telepathy. If a child once again has done that at a young age, they're going to bypass the need to develop the other pieces and parts. But the larger trajectory, once again, that I will say is that perhaps they were helping to hold a connection to God that we were disconnected from. So as we bring that into an integration, we infuse and inject spirituality, connection, deep connection that we have suppressed because of the confines of how society grew based on development, technology, industry, systems, structures, capitalism. So that is it. I hope that that explains it. I'm going to upload this to YouTube as well so people can see it. And yeah, I hope it makes some cohesive, coherent sense. If anybody wants to get in contact with me and ask me certain questions about it, then please do, because that can sometimes help to make it a lot clearer. I try to just be open and channel these spaces to give the information over. So yeah, I try to go with the flow of it, and I afterwards I go, did that make cohesive sense? But I hope that it did. So that is that. In general, because this is going on YouTube, if anybody wants to work with me, KyleTreslove.com. If you want to give these videos, PayPal at Kyle Treslove. Like I would always say, remember, all is good, all is God, all is love. Until we connect again soon in a bit.